You've probably heard the saying, justice delayed is justice denied. It makes sense, right? But I want you to think about it a little differently. What if the delay itself is the real punishment? What if the process, the sheer act of waiting for justice, is so brutal that it completely destroys your life, long before a judge ever bangs a gavel? Yeah, this quote from a National Institutes of Health study really nails it. We all kind of know that legal battles are tough. The stress, the uncertainty, it's a heavy, heavy burden. And believe me, that is not an exaggeration. For thousands of people in India, this is the grim reality. Imagine a legal case that swallows your entire youth, your career, your reputation, everything. So what is the true human cost when the wheels of justice don't just turn slowly, but they practically grind to a halt? Okay, so let's start right there with the human cost. What does it actually feel like to be stuck in this legal limbo where just waiting for an answer becomes a prison of its own? Just look at this number, 70%. Let that sink in for a second. That means more than 2/3 of the people sitting in an Indian prison haven't actually been convicted of a crime. They're called undertrials, and they're just waiting, trapped in the system, sometimes for years, just waiting for their day in court. You see, for so many of these people, the moment of arrest is what's called a social death. We have this idea of innocent until proven guilty, but in the real world, in the court of public opinion, guilt is often just assumed. Reputations are shattered overnight, lives are ruined, and all of this happens before a single piece of evidence is presented at trial. And this leads to a really important psychological concept: secondary victimization. It's a technical sounding term for a simple and frankly awful idea. It's when the very system that's supposed to give you justice ends up becoming another source of trauma. The pain doesn't come from the alleged crime anymore. It comes from the agonizing, soul-crushing process of just trying to get through the legal system. And the fallout? Wow, it's like a tidal wave. Legal fees and travel costs can bankrupt an entire family. The constant, unrelenting stress leads to serious mental health problems, anxiety, deep depression. Your most productive years? Gone. Just stolen by the calendar. And the worst part? The stigma doesn't just stick to the accused. It poisons the entire family, punishing spouses and children who had absolutely nothing to do with it. So you have to ask yourself, why? Why does this happen? Well, this incredible human suffering isn't just a coincidence. It's a symptom of a much bigger problem, a justice system that is literally buckling under its own weight, full of deep, systemic flaws. Now, this chart tells a huge part of the story. Forget everything you've seen in courtroom dramas about a last-minute piece of evidence. In the real world, over 60% of acquittals in major criminal cases happen for a very simple reason: the witnesses change their story. They turn hostile. And why are they changing their stories? Well, this table lays it out in black and white. The biggest reason, at almost 40%, is just raw intimidation, what they call muscular power. Right behind that is bribery or money power. You throw in political and social pressure, and what you get is a system where the truth is constantly being attacked by power and influence. And this isn't just abstract data on a chart. Think back to the Jessica Lawal murder case, a trial that absolutely captivated the country. 4 key eyewitnesses, people who were right there and saw it happen, completely flipped their stories in court. It's a perfect, tragic example of how a case that seems open and shut can just fall apart. And this is the heartbreaking result. This is a direct quote from the judge in the Priyadarshini Mathu murder case. I mean, just listen to it. He's openly admitting from the bench that he believes the accused is the killer, but because the evidence and the system failed, his hands are tied, he has to let him go. You can literally feel the frustration in his words. So here's the final insult. What happens to the person who endures all of this for a decade, loses everything, and is then finally proven innocent? The answer is nothing. India's own law commission points out that there is zero legal framework in place to compensate them for the life that was stolen from them. No remedy for the lost years, the destroyed career, the shattered reputation, nothing. It's a really bleak picture, isn't it? But what if the solution to these deeply human problems isn't actually human at all? Right now, the conversation is starting to shift towards technology. Could something like artificial intelligence actually be a way out of this mess?
So look at the contrast here, side by side. On the left, you've got the reality we've been talking about: years of delays, crushing costs, emotional devastation, and a system that can be manipulated. But on the right, you see a vision for an AI-powered alternative, one that promises speed, access, and decisions based on data.
So how would this actually work? Let's break it down. First, AI could analyze thousands of old cases to predict how long a new case might take. That helps courts manage their schedules instead of just letting things pile up. Second, evidence. Instead of lawyers spending months digging through digital files, an algorithm could do it in a few hours, flagging what's important. Third, we could lean into digital courts. Virtual hearings would slash travel costs and get rid of so many pointless delays. And finally, and this is a big one, AI tools could be a superpower for legal aid, helping overworked lawyers give faster, better advice to people who need it most.
Okay, so that brings us to our final and maybe most important section. The promise of tech is really tempting, but it forces us to look at the very heart of the system itself.
Because here's the essential question, right? We can throw all the tech we want at this, but can an algorithm truly fix these deep human problems of corruption and intimidation? And maybe more importantly, if we do turn to AI, who's training it? If we feed an AI a whole history of biased human decisions, won't it just learn to be biased too? Only faster?
And that right there is the fundamental risk. An AI is only as good as the data you feed it. If that data is full of historical biases against certain groups, the AI won't fix the problem. It will amplify it. It could end up making the system even more unfair, just with ruthless technological efficiency.
And this brings us back to the central idea, the one big takeaway from this entire explainer. For countless people tangled up in India's legal system, the real sentence isn't what the judge says at the end. The punishment is the process. It's the decade of waiting, the financial ruin, the social death. The journey itself is the punishment. So yes, AI offers this really tantalizing hope for a faster, fairer system. But the ultimate question goes so much deeper. Can technology really fix a system where, for so many, the journey itself feels like it's designed to destroy you? That is the real challenge.